everybody. Welcome to another PonderCast episode with Tess. And I'll have Tess introduce herself. And when did you graduate from Riley High School?
Hello. Well, this is Tess, and I graduated from Riley High School in 2017, probably one of the best class of the Wildcats. Currently, I am studying at Notre Dame environmental engineering with a minor in musical theater.
How do those things go together?
See, and that's something I'm still trying to understand now, but I've realized that I probably want to pursue environmental policy, environmental justice once I graduate. So currently I'm looking into internship opportunities for the summer, and I think they go together in terms of understanding people and understanding like what people would like to pursue with their lives.
That's a great way to put it. Plus, it's two of your interests. And that's how they go together. Those are your two zones of genius. And a lot of people don't have those two zones of genius in one person. They're either one or the other. You are the super talent.
Oh, I hope so.
So you graduated in 2017. I still can't believe it's been that long. And so you are now attending just up the road.
Yes.
At Notre Dame. So you didn't go very far. And so let's talk about Riley first, and then we'll talk about Notre Dame second. So what were some of the things you were involved with at Riley High School?
So one of the really big things that I was involved with for Riley High School was the rocketry team. It was kind of like the greatest thing that I did, just because I also ended up going to the national finals in Washington, D.C. And so I think the rocketry team just showed me that anybody who wants to pursue something can pursue it, because I wouldn't necessarily consider myself somebody who has like a really strong physics background. And I think that's kind of like the worry people have is like, oh, I can't pursue this because I'm not as good. I think if you just have a desire to do that or to pursue something, then you can do it. And so I really enjoyed doing rocketry. I also was in a couple of the musical theater productions, which I feel has also helped me in pursuing musical theater here on campus at Notre Dame. And so I also was a part of like the PLTW Magnet Ambassadors, which was pretty awesome, just explaining the reasons why more female and minorities should be pursuing engineering, and how that engineers can be the solutions to a lot of the world's problems.
And weren't you Science Olympiad also?
Yes, I was also in Science Olympiad. Loved it. And also we ended up going to state, had a lot of fun. I feel like that also helped me pursue science in a non like book science way, if that makes sense. There's a lot more application-based things that we did in Science Olympiad and then just the team aspect was amazing. A lot of fun.
Yeah, and we hear from so many engineering firms, especially in South Bend, that we just need engineers that can communicate. And the fact that your team aspect that you just brought up, but also all of the drama that you did and ability to speak in front of people, just every engineer, every high school student should take some kind of drama or public speaking class.
Yes.
And you are like the poster child for that.
Oh, yeah.
And you mentioned getting more females and students of color involved in engineering. Why do you think that's important? I think it's very important.
Yeah. Important? I think it's important just because you just need a wide range of different ways people see the world, just because we don't necessarily all see the world the same way. And that means we might not all have the same solutions. And to tackle today's problems, we need all the solutions that we can get so that we can come up with the best solution. And anybody can come up with that. And so I think that having more women and people of color will just allow us to expand our horizons in ways that probably could not have been even considered or imagined like maybe 100 years ago.
And that's what I love about Riley High School, and being a product of South Bend schools way back in the day when I graduated and recently when you graduated. Just our diversity is just a microcosm of what we see at the university levels and just out in our community. And so what you mentioned about just bringing ideas and brainstorming ideas with people from all over is just a huge benefit to going to Riley and the University of Notre Dame. What were some of your favorite projects at Riley?
I would say I just really like the projects that we were able to work on just because I like the team aspect. But I think one of my favorite ones was when I was building a train. I was just thinking about this because I'm doing CAD right now, and for one of my classes, um, we were building a train, and so you had to model it, but you had to work with a partner with like in another classroom. And so I think that was at the time seemed very difficult. Also, I don't think Google Docs was much of a thing, and so it was like you had to like type and then send it over to them. Um, but I really enjoyed it just because looking at the end product, I also really like the Rubik's Cube project. Um, just because, or not, it was like a cube.
Yeah, the Puzzle
Yes,
Cube project.
yes, that. Just because I, it was difficult to imagine at the time before starting the project that you could model something like that in like Autodesk, but then at the end and you did it and it was like colored, it was like, wow, you had the capability to do that, which was awesome.
What were some of your favorite classes? You brought up the Intro to Engineering class. What were some of your other classes? Maybe not even in the engineering magnet.
I would also say really loved Mrs. Knappenberger's world history class. She just really encouraged us to think outside the box, which is something that I'm trying to do with environmental policy. I really, really loved her class. She kept us alive in the class. I know sometimes people would just like, be tired because, it's like the end, it was at the end of the day, but she just always kept me like focused and she always encouraged me. Really enjoyed show choir. I was also in that, loved that class just because I loved having that break in the day where I was able to sing. Also really enjoyed taking chemistry with Mr. Morgan. At the time, it seemed like impossibly hard. But now I'm realizing I wish I would have encouraged or pushed myself to take more AP classes, just because Mr. Morgan was such a good teacher. And getting to college, you realize that not that it's not possible, but it's more difficult to have like that one-on-one time with your teacher just explaining things. And Mr. Morgan was always there and always willing to explain. Yeah.
What was your most embarrassing high school moment?
Ooh. I think high school in general was just embarrassing. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. Uh
I'm
maybe
still in high school. You're right. It's embarrassing sometimes.
I don't know if it's like I it's not that I can necessarily like pinpoint one embarrassing moment. I feel like I tried to like erase them all out of my mind. Maybe I tripped up the stairs during like a passing period or in the morning where like everybody can see you. Those are like the terrifying like wonders like, oh, am I gonna trip? But I don't know. I don't think I had. Maybe I was just too cool. Or I think maybe I'm just blocking them all out. I'll probably get them right before I go to bed tonight, like all my embarrassing moments ever.
You're right. You are too cool. And two, you're just like that performer. You would
Yeah.
I meant to do that.
And yeah, like this
going.
is my life. The camera's zero in and I'm like smiling. That's what I hope.
All right, let's talk about your time at Notre Dame. So you're a junior now, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, time is flying. What are some internships that you maybe have done or you're looking forward to doing?
So last summer or 2 summers ago, I had an internship at the Notre Dame Federal Credit Union, and it was more in marketing. And I got to work with them on different projects that they were doing to market to college age students. That was a lot of fun. Got a lot of really cool swag from them. Last summer, I had the opportunity to go to New Zealand. And so I researched the Maori people, who are the native people of New Zealand, and just understanding how the wastewater problems that they've been having in the past, how that was affected due to policy, racism, and I just really enjoyed pursuing that. I also had the opportunity during my time there to understand the unreinforced masonry problem in Portland, US, and comparing it to the standards that have been set in New Zealand, because New Zealand has one of the, I guess they say, best policies and standards that they have set forth in the country or in the world, actually. and just understanding like the differences, why Portland is having this problem, why New Zealand might not necessarily be having this problem, and just trying to find a way to, I guess, better Portland's policies. But yeah, that's all I've done since.
Okay. And are you signed up for any this coming summer?
This summer, I am looking. We are in the midst of applying. I'm actually in the middle of one right now. I'm just hoping to hear back soon. I have applied to Bowman Creek and have my interview next week. I'm also looking at ones for like policy. I'm also looking at like the Department of like Justice, just because they've done stuff with like environmental justice. Looking at the State Department, things that they're offering. I'm looking at a lot of environmental like organizations, environmental firms. So hoping to hear back soon.
What are your favorite things to do at Notre Dame?
For specifically in terms of Notre Dame, I'd say everybody loves it, but the Notre Dame football games, that's when you just feel a real true spirit of being united. Another thing that I really enjoy, which is I guess more specific to Notre Dame, is Show Some Skin, which is a production of monologues that students submit. We don't like show skin literally, but we like students from all across the campus, faculty, staff can submit anonymous monologues that just explain how they see the world, how they view the world, and they're able to. We've taken all these monologues and select the best and put on a production of it, and it's really heartfelt. Really just helps you understand different perspectives. And yeah, I really enjoy that one too. I'm also part of Diversity Council, which is just a council of different organizations across campus, like Asian American Association and the African Student Association. We all meet together and just discuss how we can move towards more inclusive policies at Notre Dame.
So you grew up in South Bend, right?
Yep. South Bend, Mishawaka, but yes.
Yeah, so grew up South Bend, Mishawaka area, like your whole life, product of Riley. Did you want to get away for college?
I initially did. I initially wanted to go to Columbia. That was number one goal, but was not initially accepted, and I was able to get a really good scholarship to stay in state. And honestly, I think now that it was probably the best decision, or like the best course of actions that might have occurred, just because I feel a lot of people think that going to Notre Dame is like still being in South Bend, when really it's like a whole nother world. And I just get to go home and see my family whenever I want. My mom can bring me food whenever I want. Yeah. And so I think it's a really good choice that I was able to stay so close to home.
That is nice. But it is nice also because your brother goes to Notre Dame.
Yes, he does.
But like, you guys don't ever see each other probably, right? You kind of mentioned this earlier before we started recording, but.
No, we don't. It's more that he lives on one side of campus and I live on the other side. And so to get from one place to another, not that I have not gone out of my way, but I have made the decision to deliberately go see my brother. And he's like a 10-15 minute walk from where I live. And so he just likes to study on his side of campus and I study on the other side of campus. And so it's more like we don't cross paths, but when we do, like we're always joking with each other, having a good time. And I do try to see him at least once a week. But he likes his own life.
So if your mom's listening, this is good. Like we still, the parents still want our children to get along, but
oh yeah.
Sometimes in the car we got to separate you guys, and separating on separate sides of campus, I guess that works.
Yeah.
You're in the performing arts at Notre Dame. Do you have any upcoming shows or favorite shows that you've done?
I'm not in any upcoming shows, but I'm trying to do research this upcoming spring break. I'm trying to go to New York and see a couple of productions. And I'm really excited. I'm trying to go see Frozen and also see Dear Evan Hansen. Really hoping that Notre Dame approves me for funding. So currently I just met with the professor like maybe an hour ago, discussing with her how I can best word my research grant so it doesn't seem like all I want to do is see musicals, but also trying to get scholarly output from it.
Well, here's hoping. And
Please,
what kind of scholarly output, maybe that maybe that professor is listening now. What type of scholarly output would you be getting from this trip?
So I'm hoping we've discussed that I could maybe I have to do a capstone project for my musical theater minor. So either I'm hoping to even write a play if I can think of something to write about, or even do just like research about my analysis of like a performative analysis of the work that I viewed. Um, Usually I just like talk to myself about all these different works that I view, but now if I can just like write them all down and still get credit for it, that'd be amazing.
That would be amazing. Let me kind of back up and mention, what would be some things that you would encourage, especially girls, to sign up for at Riley?
I would say sign up for any and all classes that you feel will encourage you to, I guess, just do the best that you can. I'm thinking, I think a lot of my classes, we had like a good male to female ratio, but I know a lot of girls sometimes will say that they're not as encouraged to do like calculus or like all these other classes because they're like, oh, it's hard and I don't want to get a bad grade. Um, and so I can understand like wanting to like get the best grade ever, but also your education at Riley is free. And it's also like you should be doing everything and anything that you can. I would highly encourage taking like I'm pretty sure Miss Leonard still teaches AP Chem and AP Physics. She is such a great teacher. I highly encourage anybody to take it with her. I would also encourage them to sign up for engineering, the PLTW program. I know that since my time, like the ratio has improved, but I think it's just like you continuously need to remind people because I know I didn't necessarily know what engineering was before going to Riley. And so it wasn't something that I was considering pursuing, but now it's my major. So I would highly encourage them to look outside, I guess, what you would normally see people doing.
If you could go back to 14-year-old Tess walking in the
Oh
doors
no.
at Riley for the first time, what would be some advice you'd give yourself?
I think sometimes you're nervous, I guess, when you're 14 and angsty to be authentically yourself. And I would tell myself that you shouldn't be, I guess, worried for judgment of what other people think of you, that you should just be trying to do what you enjoy best. Um, I would also encourage her to, I guess, pursue more theater productions as well, like trying to go see more musicals. Um, yeah, I feel as if I enjoyed my high school experience and not that I did everything that I could possibly have wanted to do, but trying to make sure that I fit even more in. Maybe just talking to like my teachers about what they do as a teacher, what they had to do to prepare to be a teacher. Just because I see that as such a cool profession, especially like being a principal, um, and maybe just finding time to meet and ask more questions about it. I would also say attending more like high school related things. I think that would have been like more basketball games, more football games. Uh, yeah, and I think I'd also just say just be more thankful for everything that you have, your parents, you're just I guess really not lucky, but like it's such a nice time to be like 14, not have to worry about so many different things. Because one day you'll have to like consider college and all this stuff. But right now, just like truly enjoy the time that you have, being with your friends, learning more about yourself. But yeah,
Love it. Thank you so much for doing this. This is perfect, and I couldn't
no, this
agree
is great.
more. Like trying to get kids to go to and support their friends at the different events. If they've never been to a swim meet or a wrestling match, like
Hmm.
those are really cool, and all the other athletic and club things that we have here at schools and all the schools. So in closing, what is your definition of success?
I actually had to write a paper about this based on musicals, and my professor asked me how to based on the musicals, is this how you define your success? And so I said success is being authentically yourself and still being able to achieve the highest level possible and being grateful for the level that you're achieving and not necessarily achieving things for money or status. Um, I think that's how I would define success. And I would say that because this was the next question my professor asked me, like, do you consider yourself a successful person? And I would say yes, based on like what I've done, how far I've come. Because honestly, going from high school to like college, like I think that's success in yourself, like in that self, just progressing through those ages. But yeah, I think I would define it as being authentically yourself and not doing things for status or money, but doing them because they're good or they're correct.
Thank you so much, Tess, for being on here. Next time you see your brother, tell him I said hi.
I will. Thank you so much for interviewing me. This was really great.
Oh, and you kind of mentioned it. Like, we all have our own story, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start doing this, is so our students can share their stories and we can share like all the great things that you guys are doing from Riley and beyond, even though you're just a few miles away.
Yeah.
But that's all great, because pretty soon you'll be somewhere else doing something cool.
Hopefully,
like,
yeah.
Or
here.
So cool. Or here, right. Yeah, this is a brain gain, not a brain drain anymore. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.